Hey everyone, Reaper here again. This time it's for another episode of my Tales from the Crypt series. And for this episode, we're going to be talking about Bargain in Death, which appeared in the Walter horror movie in 1973. And Bargain in Death appeared in this issue, Tales from the Crypt number 28. It's a classic cover. It's a classic cover. And I believe that this is Bargain in Death is actually the cover story. So anyway, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the issue, and then let's talk about the adaptation. Well, both, once again, both very, very similar in many ways. Guy wants to cheat his insurance company. Wants to trick them into thinking that he's dead, so that he can collect the money, and he's working with his friend to do this, and so forth. At the same time, there are these two medical students that are afraid they're going to fail their classes, and they figured, well, we would do a lot better if we actually had a body of our own to work on, instead of just spending what limited time we have in the labs working with a body. If we had a body of our own, we would do really well. So you got these two things going on at the same time, and it's present in the adaptation. So the guy who wants to cheat his insurance company manages to trick people that he's dead. He gets buried with the hope that his friend's going to come dig him up, and he's going to collect the insurance money, and well, his friend will collect it because I guess he put his name on the insurance, and they'll have the money together. Well, the friend planned to double cross him and not show up to dig him up, and much like in the actual adaptation. So around this same time, the students they come across this guy. He just recently died, or so they believe. So they dig him up to try to figuring that they're going to use him as their cadaver. So they paid the gravedigger some money to dig up the body and help them get it out of the cemetery. But little did they know that the guy's alive. Okay, they didn't know he was still alive. So when they break open the casket and see that he's alive, it freaks out the two medical students, and they run off. And the gravedigger, thinking that, hey, I got to get my money, he takes the shovel and smashes the guy in the head and kills him. And it was pretty much the same thing in the adaptation. I think that out of all the adaptations, this was one of the closest. There were a few that were really, really close to the actual source material. Bargain in Death is definitely one of those that follows it pretty well. I mean, a lot of them, like I said, were very close, and Bargain in Death is no exception to that. So, how is Bargain of Death? What do I think of it? It was a pretty cool story. I would say, though, it's definitely one of the weaker stories in both movies. Yeah, and even the comic story, it's an okay story. It was definitely one of the weaker, I felt. It wasn't as cool as And All Through the House or Midnight Mass or Drawn and Quartered and all that stuff. Still good, but not as strong. So please join me as I open up this book and we take a good look at the awesome artwork, and then I'll show you clips from the actual sequence in the movie. Thank you for watching, everyone. Take care. All right, here we go. Let's take an inside look at Tales from the Crypt number 28, the story Bargain in Death. This book could definitely use a good press. There you go, a little stamp over here, December 5th, which is pretty cool, I guess. A little stain over here. But let's get inside. It is the first story, Bargain in Death. Here we have the two college students. Let's move this over a little. Trying to figure out how they're going to do well if they don't have a cadaver to work on for longer than what they have when they're in the labs. Two medical students here. Steal a body, rob a grave. There we go. And now we turn toward two guys plotting insurance fraud. So we have the two college students planning to dig up a dead body so that they could work longer on a cadaver so that they could do well in medical school. And then we have these two guys plotting insurance fraud with $20,000 of insurance money. Man, it definitely goes to show how the times have changed. Back then, 20,000 was a lot of money. Now that's nothing. Yeah, see, it's an awful lot of money, Alex. Yeah, not really. This guy's gonna fake his own death by taking some sort of shot that slows down the heartbeat, the metabolism, and then the other guy has to dig him up, and then they collect the insurance money. Man, very weird, man. Talk about a Cro-Magnon looking guy. 36 hours you'll be unconscious. So they go through with it. Takes the shot. Next day he's found dead. Maybe now we could see where this is going. He's dead. They can't tell that he's alive because of the medicine. Makes the arrangements. And the two students looking for a body, they find one. They seek out the gravedigger to dig up the body. And it turns out that it's the guy that faked his own death. He's buried. And now here the guy's partner, who was going to collect the insurance money, is now planning that he is not going to show up and dig him up. He's going to leave him in there. When the medicine wears off or that drug wears off and he wakes up in his casket, nobody's coming for him, because now he's going to take the $20,000 off for himself. But as it seems that these two college students are planning to have that body dug up so that they could work on him as a cadaver. So maybe he just might get out of this okay. He gets the insurance money. Oh, $40,000. Oh, okay. Maybe there might have been a double indemnity. I don't know. He wakes up in a casket. He's waking up. It's actually the cover story. Guy's buying a new car. The gravedigger is leading the college students to the freshly buried person. Running out of air, starting to suffocate. His friend's not coming. He's taking off. He's going to be living the high life. They get to the coffin. Okay, maybe he'll survive after all. They open it up, and then he sits up. He's like, ah. And scares everybody because they thought he was dead. They thought they dug up a dead man's grave. But the man was alive. And there's the good old friend that double-crossed him, driving past the cemetery in his brand new car. However, the two medical students who were frightened when they dug up that grave, and he jumped out, run right in the middle of the street, tries to dodge, and boom, he gets his and goes off what looks to be a small cliff. Well, anyway. And when they go back home, they find out that the gravedigger was waiting for them. And this is where it gets kind of stupid. It's, they don't see what happens. What happened was that when the guy stood up from the casket, seemingly alive, the drug wore off. The gravedigger took his shovel and smashed him over the head to kill him so he could collect the money that was promised to him for digging him up. And you don't see that. It's just they just describe it here. Whereas in the episode, you see what the gravedigger did. And here it's just like, it leaves it to the imagination, which is kind of like, not as good of an ending. I think the movie did it much better. So that is Bargain in Death, everybody. Enjoy the clips that come from the movie.
I remember now. I remember. It's a surefire plan, Alex. Now this will cut down my pulse and heartbeat, my entire metabolism, so that even the best doctor will think that I'm dead. Now, these are pills I'd be taking if I had a heart condition, so it'll look as though I've had an attack. There'll be no trouble getting a death certificate. Now, you must make absolutely sure that I'm buried not more than 24 hours after I die. Then all you have to do is wait until night, dig me up, and I'll hide at your place while you collect the insurance money, and we're off and away. You know, it would have made a really great story. I'd have been lucky to get £50 for it. No money in horror. And once you've collected the insurance money, friend Alex, I shan't need you anymore. The perfect plan. Perfect. I'll never learn it. I will never pass the anatomy course. Trouble is, we can only work in the dissection room for the short periods we're assigned to it. If only we had a body of our own. What? Well, we could work on it when we wanted to.
Mr. Maitland? Mr. Maitland?
Damn it!
Sorry if I gave you a fright. You got the money?
After we get the body,
What do you want his body for?
we're ghouls.
Air giving out.
Did you hear a cough?
No.
No. Should be just about waking up now. I wonder how long it'll take before he realizes his friend Alex isn't coming.
You can give me the money now. It's all yours. Sorry about the head.